Again, thank you, and thank you, Senator Glazer, for bringing this forward along with your co-authors. Let's go back, if we can, to motions and resolutions. Senator Hancock.
Thank you, Madam President. I would like to request that file item A23, AB 869 by Cooper be removed from the inactive file.
That will be the order. All right, we're going to go back, if we can now, to file item 55. Senator Hueso. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Concurrent Resolution 153 by Senator Hueso relative to the San Salvador replica.
Senator Hueso.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm honored to present SCR 153, a resolution that would recognize and commemorate the restoration and operation of the San Salvador replica. Many people have heard of the historic voyage of the Pilgrims coming to America in 1620. And many people don't realize that the first voyage into the Americas was actually in 1542 by Juan Rodriguez Cabrillo, that on the same date, September, on the same month of September, arrived on the California shores in 1542 on a boat called the San Salvador. The San Salvador landed at what is now San Diego and established first contact with the native peoples of California coast again in 1542 in that famous expeditionary voyage. Juan Cabrillo and his crew became the first Europeans to set foot on the Pacific coast of the United States. The Maritime Museum of San Diego, in pursuit of its mission to serve as the community memory of our seafaring experience, sought to build a full-sized, fully functional, and historically accurate replica of the San Salvador to create a living link between California past and present. After years of research and fundraising, construction began on the spring of 2004 in full view of the public at Spanish Landing Park in San Diego. Most of the labor was performed by approximately 500 volunteers from around the world. Beginning in the fall of 2016, the San Salvador replicas will set sail from San Diego to contact educational ports of call in Ventura, Monterey, San Francisco, Vallejo, Jack London Square, Old Sacramento, Morro Bay, and Channel Islands. The mission of the San Salvador replica and its planned voyage is to preserve and educate the public on the historic voyage of the San Salvador and the history of California. This measure commemorates the Maritime Museum of San Diego for constructing and operating the San Salvador replica and its dedication to preserving, interpreting, and teaching the rich maritime history of California. I respectfully ask for your aye vote today. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Hueso. Debate and discussion. Senator Morlock, followed by Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in support of this bill. I am a big fan of the Maritime Museum of San Diego, so I'm excited to say that it actually has two California historical landmarks. The Star of India is number 1030, and the Steam Ferry Berkeley is number 1031. So the San Salvador joins great company, including the revenue cutter California. The California was actually out of Orange County. They sailed it all the way to New York City via the Panama Canal, and I had the privilege of riding the California into New York City onto the Hudson River for the Opsail 2000. So we went by the aircraft carrier John F. Kennedy, which had the president on the deck as we were going by. So San Diego is blessed with an incredible museum, and I just think this is a wonderful resolution. Thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Morlock. Senator Anderson.
I also rise in support. Dr. Raymond Ashley, who runs and is the CEO of the Maritime Museum, has done an outstanding, phenomenal job. He and his leadership team have gone to great lengths to include all San Diegans and visitors from Orange County in all the projects that they have. So these are everyday Californians being able to participate and learn firsthand what it was like over the years with our maritime history. So I want to thank the senator from San Diego for doing an outstanding job and recognizing this. But if you haven't had a chance to do it, coming down for our Festival of Sails, coming down just to see all the maritime ships that we have, it's absolutely incredible. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator Anderson. Any further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Hueso, would you like to close?
I ask for everyone's support today. Thank you.
All right. All debate having ceased, Mr. Secretary, please call the roll.
Allen. I. Anderson. I. Bates. I. Bell. I. Berryhill. I. Block. I. Canella. I. De Leon. Fuller. Gaines. I. Gaggioni. I. Glazer. I. Hall. I. Hancock. I. Hernandez. I. Hertzberg. Hill. I. Hueso. I. Huff. I. Jackson. I. Lara. Leno. I. Leva. I. Liu. I. McGuire. I. Mendoza. I. Mitchell. I. Monning. I. Morlock. I. Morrell. I. Wynn. I. Nilsson. I. Pan. I. Pavley. I. Roth. I. Runner. Stone. I. Vidak. I. Wachowski. Wolk. Wolk, aye. Wachowski, aye.
Please call the absent members.
De Leon. Fuller. Hertzberg. Lada. Runner.
Ayes 35, no 0. The resolution is adopted. File item 56, absent. File item 57, absent. File item 58, Senator Liu, do you wish to take up file item 58? Senator Liu, do you wish to take up 58? Pass on file. File item 59, Senator Hall. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 81 by Senator Hall relative to Juneteenth Day celebrations.
Senator Hall.
Thank you, Madam President and Senators. As chair of the California Legislative Black Caucus, I rise to present SR 81, which commemorates the 151st Juneteenth, which is the oldest known celebration commemorating the ending of slavery in the United States. It was on June 19th in 1865 that the Union soldiers, led by Major General Gordon Granger, landed in Galveston, Texas, with news that the war had ended and that the enslaved were now free. The Emancipation Proclamation had little impact on the Texans due to the minimal number of Union troops to enforce the new executive order. However, with the surrender of General Lee in April of 1865 and the arrival of General Granger's regiment, the forces were finally strong enough to influence and overcome the resistance. The reactions to this profound news ranged from pure shock to immediate jubilation. The celebration of June 19th was coined Juneteenth, and it grew with more participation from descendants. The Juneteenth celebration is a time for family and friends to pray and encourage each other and to preserve in times of pain and in times of struggle. I respectfully ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Hall. Senator Huff?
There we go. Thank you, Madam President and members. It was almost 3 years from September 1862 when President Lincoln issued his famous Emancipation Proclamation before everyone was declared formally freed, as was cited by the senator from L.A. I grew up hearing this as Emancipation Day. They're one and the same, Juneteenth, Emancipation Day, but it is historic. And I think from the illustration that we saw recently, being free doesn't equate with being equal. For the Port Chicago explosion demonstrated that the blacks were required to get back in there and load the munitions, even if it was a dangerous situation. The whites were gone. And so it has been a historic battle to exercise and enjoy the full freedom that came with the proclamation. But it's a time we stand together and acknowledge the historic event, but also the challenges that have remained and the progress that's been made. though I authored a similar resolution earlier this month and was proud to have much bipartisan support there. I stand proudly as a joint author with the senator from Los Angeles and ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Huff. Senator Block?
Thank you, Madam President. As chair of the California Legislative Jewish Caucus, I also rise in strong support of SR 81. The Jewish people have also experienced enslavement both in ancient Egypt and in concentration camps of Germany, and we know and will always support freedom and oppose discrimination wherever we see it. So I do support this call for a National Day of Recognition for Juneteenth.
Thank you, Senator Block. Senator Hannah-Beth Jackson?
Thank you, Madam President and colleagues. On behalf of the Legislative Women's Caucus, as well as myself, I rise in support of SR 81 and encourage all Californians to join in this celebration of Juneteenth. In the words of Coretta Scott King, activist and civil rights leader, along with her husband, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., she said, "Struggle is a never-ending process. Freedom is never really won. You earn and win it in every generation." And of course, with the resolution that we just heard about, clearly discrimination is something that we fight on a daily basis and must recognize it and do everything we can to eliminate it. And on this occasion, as chair of the Women's Caucus, I'd like to recognize a few inspiring African-American women who understood the never-ending process of struggle and their accomplishments, starting with Harriet Tubman, who led hundreds of enslaved people to freedom along the route of the Underground Railroad and will soon be the new face of our $20 bill. For Claudette Colvin, who in 1955, at the ripe old age of 16, refused to give up her seat on the bus to a white passenger. She was arrested and became one of 4 plaintiffs in Browder versus Gale, which ruled that Montgomery's segregated bus system was unconstitutional. And of course, Maya Angelou, whose poetry, memoirs, and civil rights activism have given literary and political voice to African-American women everywhere. As civil rights activist Dorothy Height reminds us, greatness is not measured by what a man or woman accomplishes, but by the opposition he or she has overcome. The celebration of the Juneteenth holiday formally encourages everyone to commemorate the great achievements of the African American community by remembering the great obstacles that they have overcome, that continue to exist, that what we must all fight to overcome as a state and a nation. And I respectfully ask for your aye vote as well.
Thank you, Senator Jackson. Senator Mitchell?
Thank you, Madam President. I'd like to thank my fellow joint authors on the resolution and all those who stood in support. I have to say, I sat in Senate Labor yesterday, maybe it was Assembly Labor Committee, and heard a bill on the issue of pay equity. And I thought, how ironic, recognizing that in 2016, we're still having conversations about pay equity or equal pay for equal work, and recognizing that my foremothers and forefathers basically gave not only hundreds of years of free labor to this country, but 2 years post the signing of the Emancipation Proclamation, which happened in 1863. It was 2 years later that General Gordon Granger found his way to Texas to inform the slaves that they had indeed be freed. And so as we continue to talk about the importance of commemorating Juneteenth, I think it's also critical that we're forever mindful about the value of work and those members of society who continue to be underpaid for a fair day's work. With that, again, I ask you to support SR 81 in commemoration of Juneteenth and all the future Juneteenths that we'll have the opportunity to celebrate. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Mitchell. Members, is there any further discussion or debate? Senator Pan.
Well, thank you, Madam President. Senators, on behalf of the Asian Pacific Islander Caucus, I'd like to also urge strong support for SR 81. The lessons that have been taught to us by the African American community, their struggles are lessons that all of us need to be aware of, no matter what our race or ethnicity or background. And so I'm pleased to be here to support and to ask everyone to join in celebrating Juneteenth and to be in strong support of this resolution. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Pan. Senator Hall.
Thank you, Madam President and Senators. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for the various caucuses and your support in recognizing the contributions of African Americans and also commemorating yet another year that we celebrate our Juneteenth commemoration, 151st year. I respectfully ask for your aye vote on SR 81.
All debate having ceased, is there any objection to substituting a prior roll call of 35?
No, there's no.
35-0. Seeing no objection, the resolution is adopted 35-0. Moving along to file item 60, Senator Pavley. Mr. Secretary, please read.
Senate Resolution 80 by Senator Pavley, relative to the Santa Monica Mountains Backbone Trail.
Senator Pavley.
Yes, thank you very much. I wanted to bring this item's attention to the members here. Senate Resolution 80 marks the opening of the 67-mile backbone trail through the Santa Monica Mountains, which has been pieced together parcel by parcel over the past 40 years. Senator Allen and I had the honor of attending a celebration and opening of the official designation of the Backbone Trail on June 4th at Will Rogers State Historic Park. The two ends of the trail, one starts in Point Mugu State Park in Ventura County, and it ends in Will Rogers Historic State Park in Pacific Palisades in Senator Allen's district. The trail crosses canyons and ridgelines through 4 state parks, but could not have been made possible without the interagency cooperation with the National Park Service, the California Department of Parks, the Santa Monica Mountains Conservancy, and the Mountains Recreation and Conservation Authority. The National Park Service has recognized the trail as an official national recreation trail. Volunteers should get a lot of credit for the completion of this trail. Their decades of work have provided the opportunity for close to 10 million Los Angeles and Ventura County residents that live within an hour's drive of the amazing Santa Monica Mountains National Recreation Area. Local governments participated in construction and donation of properties along this trail route. And the last piece of the puzzle to extend the 67-mile trail was a very generous donation by former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger and fitness pioneer Betty Weider, who donated 40 acres. This resolution declares the Backbone Trail to be an official interagency and state trail and provide the public with an outstanding recreational opportunity that also benefits the environment and the economy and the communities of Southern California, not just for now, but for future generations. I ask for your aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Pavley. Debate or discussion? Senator Allen.
Members, I stand also in strong support of SR 80. You know, the Santa Monica Mountains play an extraordinarily important part of improving quality of life in the Los Angeles area. My father was an immigrant from Europe, grew up in the countryside there, and I think it was having the mountains in Los Angeles was a wonderful place of spirituality for him, where he was able to get away from the madness of the city, and he always took me up as a kid to go hike in the mountains, and I got to watch the development of the Backbone Trail over the years, this dream that we had for so long to be able to have one trail that would connect from one end of the mountains to the other. And it's about a 3-day hike or 3 or 4-day hike, depending on how fast you are, right in the middle of the second largest city in the country. And when you get into those canyons, there is so much tranquility. You don't even know that you're so close to this enormous conurbation. And the exciting thing is to see, I grew up hiking in the mountains almost every weekend as a kid. I still try to get up there as much as I can. The biggest change, I suppose, that I've seen is just the extent to which the Los Angeles community continues to embrace these wonderful mountains. And you start seeing more and more people from diverse backgrounds, families, coming up to escape and find some peace very close to their doorsteps in the city. And to now have this trail completed is a wonderful moment of celebration for the entire Southland community. We had a wonderful ceremony there. Governor Schwarzenegger was there, and it was a great bipartisan celebration. We thank the governor for that donation, which completed the trail. In addition to all of the folks who worked so hard over the years, multi-jurisdictional, the cooperation with the feds, the local folks, it's been such an effort getting this trail completed. We've got to go do so much more to continue to buy up parkland and preserve more open space. As the city of Los Angeles grows, there's going to be more and more need for places like the Santa Monica Mountains where our young people and our families and older folks can go and get some exercise and be able to find tranquility in wilderness. So with that, I very strongly urge and I vote on SR 80.
Thank you, Senator Allen. Further debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Senator Havley, would you like to close?
Appreciate your I vote in support, and I'll see you out on the trail. Thank you.
Excellent. All debate having ceased, is there any objection to substituting a prior unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 36, no 0. The resolution is adopted. Colleagues, we have one additional item. Assembly third reading, file item 124. Senator Hernandez, Mr. Secretary, please read.
Assembly Bill 1568 by Assemblymember Bonta, enacting to Medi-Cal, making an appropriation therefore, and declaring the urge thereof to take effect immediately.
Senator Hernandez.
Thank you, Madam President and members. This bill is the companion measure to my SB 815, and together these bills enact the Medi-Cal 2020 waiver, which is a 5-year, $6.2 billion demonstration that provides California the opportunity to leverage federal funds to advance key initiatives. This bill contains a provision enacted the Whole Person Care, which aims to coordinate health care services to the most vulnerable Californians, and the Dental Transformation Initiative, which improves the oral health care for our children. It also embodies the shared commitment of California and the federal government to invest in performance-based health care delivery system and continue to improve the quality and value of care provided to the most vulnerable Californians. Members, with that, I respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Thank you, Senator Hernandez. Debate or discussion on this item? Debate or discussion? Seeing and hearing none, is there any objection to substituting a unanimous roll call? Seeing and hearing none, ayes 36, no 0 on the urgency. Ayes 36, noes 0 on the measure. Senator, at this point in time, colleagues, we are going to return to motions and resolutions. And Senator Mendoza at Senator De Leon's desk.
Thank you, Madam President. Senators, I would like to make a special introduction to you. After completing a 10th-month program, I am happy to introduce to you my first young senators class that graduates this Friday from 2016. These young individuals, they're recent high school graduates. They're about to go to college. They've been with my program since August of last year. There's about 50 of them. They arrived a few days ago. They spent the whole day yesterday in the Capitol with red shirts. And they're here today. They're leaving today back to the district. They spent every month, we talk about a different state issue, whether it be healthcare, whether it be labor, whether it be small business, taking tours of the ports, of the sanitation district, all those very important issues that we deal with. Yesterday, they had the privilege of sitting on the floor, being senators, debating really strong bills, and I just mentioned some of the bills, of course, that were kind of highlighted for our session last year. We did Dr. Pan's bill, SB 277, with vaccinations. We did e-cigarettes, SB X25, and we also did SB 1286, we have to do release of police records. So all those very contentious issues that we kind of deal with here and there, and they did a great job on the floor debating the issues, and I need to tell you that all those bills were unanimously, practically unanimously passed on the floor here. They did a great job. I'm very proud of them because these kids have, not only do they have to do their own school activities, but they do this on their own time, one Saturday a month, 3 or 4 hours for that one Saturday. They've been committed, and now they've been here with me. I would like to introduce to you some of the officers of the program. I'll start with our President Pro Tem, Michael Kaplan. Majority Leader Natalie Ulloa, Majority Whip Jacob Ortiz, Secretary of the Senate Kelsey Baez, Chief Sergeant at Arms Lexington Mowat, and also Daily Clerk File is Kathia Viteri. Just to name a few, and I just want to thank some of the members that came out and spoke to the students yesterday. Senator Morrell, Senator Leyva, Senator Nielsen, Senator Allen, Senator Hill, Senate Member Freddie Rodriguez, and they also had the privilege of speaking with Board of Equalization Fiona Ma. So I'm very excited. I want to thank our Lori Shelley for doing a great job taking pictures of the kids and putting the record together. She's done a great job for us. And again, thank you, members, for spending some time with them. And please help me give them a round of applause for their hard work this past year. Thank you.
Welcome, welcome to the next generation of California's leaders. And that, of course, was under privileges of the floor. We are going to now go to motions and resolutions. This is the time to adjourn in memory. Senator Nguyen.
Thank you.
Senator Nguyen.
Sorry. Okay, let's try this again. Thank you, Madam President. I just want to pull file item number 168, which is AB 923, off of consent.
That will be the order. Thank you, Senator Nguyen. Senator Allen.
Members, I wanted to, mention something that happened that was really just terrible last week. Last week, as we know, this is a motion to adjourn in memory. As you know, we had the terrible shooting in Orlando, but across the Atlantic, where the people of the United Kingdom have been engaged in a very vigorous debate over the future of their relationship with the European Union, one of our colleagues, of young, very strong young woman who had just been elected to the Houses of Parliament in the UK, 41 years old, and by all accounts, a really important rising star in British politics, was gunned down by a mentally ill person who opposed her position on the UK's relationship with the EU. And she was attending a public event at a local library, and a 77-year-old constituent of hers was also stabbed while trying to save her. She had just been elected to the parliament last year, but had already had a number of important parliamentary accomplishments. She was also the mother of 2 young children, and she was the first in her family to attend college. Her accomplishments included a stint as the head of the humanitarian campaigns for Oxfam, where she was the leading voice against the genocide in Darfur, and working for the Freedom Fund, where she supported efforts to end slavery worldwide. Her name was Jo Cox. She was a strong advocate on international issues in Parliament, and especially on the Syrian civil war and refugees. She chaired the Friends of Syria Parliamentary Group, which was a bipartisan caucus in the tripartisan caucus, actually, in the Parliament that focused on policies to protect civilians caught up in that conflict. And it was just very sad, but also heartwarming to see leaders from all the major parties in the UK come together and mourn her passing. This was just a real loss for democratic values, and it speaks to the fragility of our representative democracy. And I just think that I wanted to make sure that we took a moment to pause and adjourn in her memory, a fellow legislator who was working hard to represent her constituents and who was killed for her beliefs.
Thank you, Senator Allen. Is there anyone who wishes to speak on this particular item before we move on to Senator Anderson? Is there anyone else who wishes to speak? All right, at this point, Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Madam President. I rise in honor of memory of Rick Alexander, who passed away on June 13th. Rick was born in New York, the youngest of 3 boys, and moved to Burbank with his parents when he was 3. He grew up in Burbank, and at the age of 15, he entered the 10th grade geometry class, where he met an intriguing classmate named Joan, who would become his wife and the mother of his children. After high school, Rick attended the University of Montana. Upon graduating in 1969, Rick married Joan and became an officer in the U.S. Army. After his service to our country, which included a 2-year deployment to SHAPE, the military arm of NATO in Belgium, Rick and Joan moved to East County, San Diego, where they began to build their lives and become an integral part of our community. Rick and his wife were blessed with the birth of their daughter, Megan, and in 1985, Karen, and in 1988. In 1991, Rick was elected to the Board of Trustees for the Grossmont-Cuyamaca Community College District, where he served as a board member for 20 years. In addition to his commitment to enhancing higher education opportunities for our citizens, Rick also made contributions to his professional and local economy through his leadership with the San Diego Association of Realtors and the East County Economic Development Council. 10 years ago, Rick found a new passion in the kitchen and became a gourmet-level cook. He found great joy in creating delicious meals and sharing them with others. Rick worked tirelessly to improve his community, and he left an extraordinary legacy for future generations of East County citizens to appreciate. Rick was a good friend of mine and a great guy. He was one of those people that if he thought he was right, he was willing to swim upstream against the current to fight for what he thought was right. And that meant in our community, he championed a lot of great causes. He gave a lot of time and treasury back to the community, above and beyond anything that was ever expected of him. I ask that we respectfully adjourn in his memory. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Anderson, and please make sure to bring the information to the desk so that his memoriam can be properly recognized. Senator Gaines.
Thank you, Madam President and member. I ask that we adjourn in memory today in honor of Marie Whitaker. Marie was a catalyst for turning the Shasta Association of Realtors into one of the state's top real estate advocacy groups. Marie was hired in 1978, shortly after relocating to Redding, California from Southern California. Marie had a charismatic personality, which made her instantly want to be your friend. She served in the Shasta Association of Realtors as an executive officer until her retirement in 2002. And I'd like to now give an opportunity to the senator from Tehama to also follow with an adjourn in memory for Marie.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I came to know Marie Whitaker some near 30 years ago when I became a senator of the North State. A very short but very beautiful lady, both outwardly and inwardly. Though short of stature, very tall of mission and purpose, and a fiery lady. Not combative, but fiery in her quest of her purposes. To rebuild the realtors and make them a force in the North State and in the state, for she worked with the State Association formidably, but as a force in her community and a voice in that community. To make Redding a Renaissance town, and then from a town to a true city. To instill and inculcate in that community a sense of purpose and a dedication to education, to higher education, to the community college there, and from the Christian college in that community. A true great lady who gave herself and of herself every day for the people around her. Marie Whitaker always put others first. We will truly miss her.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen, and of course our condolences to the Whitaker family for their loss. Senator Hall.
Yes, Madam President, I'd like to go to privileges of the floor.
Without objection.
For purposes of introduction.
Without objection.
I'd like to recognize my district director. She's present with us today, and she is the best district director in the state of California in any legislative office. Please give, and she is a woman running things. Heather Hutt, senators, please.
Well, welcome to one of the finest district directors in California.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Senator Glazer.
And well, someone said it's because it's the hardest job. Okay. All right. Madam President and members, for purposes of an announcement, a friend of mine from Boston, his name is Matt Zeiper, who's National Research Director for the Trust for Public Land, made me aware a few weeks ago of a very grim statistic, that 22 American veterans take their own life an average of 22 times every day. 22 American veterans taking their life every day, 8,000 a year. He joined a national campaign to raise awareness of this problem, and he challenged me to take part. And what that challenge is, to engage in 22 push-ups every day for 22 days. And I've agreed to do that. And at the close of the floor session today, I'm going to start my 22-day awareness activity. Now, these efforts are going to continue with push-ups around the state with some very notable people, not only veterans who specialize in mental health issues, but friends from the trade union movement and their veteran staff, with the Secretary of the California Veterans Affairs Department, even our former pro tem Mayor-elect Errol Steinberg, who's, as we know, is a leader on mental health issues, is going to be joining me next week here in Capitol Park. And finally, the soldiers from Camp Parks, which is a Army Reserve training facility in my district, are going to take part with me along this 22-day awareness effort. Our veterans have served this country with bravery and honor. They are our heroes, and they should be cherished and honored when they come home. Veterans need to know that we care. If they're having difficulties, there are people and resources that are here to help. And if one happens to be listening and needs that help, there's folks at this 1-800 number that are there to talk with you and to help you through your difficulties. It's 273-8255. I want to invite my fellow senators to join me as we kick off this 22-day challenge here on the Senate floor. We'll engage in 22 push-ups if you can. I know that there's some pretty buff senators here that may be able to do many more, but for some of us who are not, it might be difficult, but we'll do the best that we can. So senators who'd like to hang around after adjournment, we'll begin that activity here today. And I thank you for listening, and thank you to the Senate, all that you've done to help our veterans. They need it at times like this, and we want them to know that we're there for them. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Glazer. An interesting approach to the problem. We'll look forward to watching you work your way through 22 push-ups. Senator Nielsen.
Madam President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I want to thank Senator Glazer for his pledge in bringing this to our attention today. And I would invite the members, if they would like to come by our office on the second floor, we have little slip-on bracelets that you could wear to acknowledge your commitment to this acknowledgement, and some little cards that will give you the crisis number that you could distribute to other people.
Thank you, Senator Nielsen. Any other motions and resolutions, announcements? Seeing none, Senator Cannella, the desk is clear.
Thank you, Madam President. The Senate will be in recess until 3:30 or until some of you get your 22 push-ups. At that time, the adjournment motion will be made. We will reconvene Monday at noon.
Thank you, Senator Cannella. The Senate will be in recess until 3:30 p.m., at which time the adjournment motion will be made. We reconvene Monday at noon.